We bin that off. We now have a laser beam that separates the start line. The lead car has to leave that start line within 1.5 seconds. Now some time for redemption. Alan Hines took that car to the wall in the first run of practice just 2 days ago. The car repaired. He managed to get out for qualifying. Now he takes on a heavy hitter, a 99.5 run for Wycheck. Alan Hines knows that he can follow Wycheck perfectly around this circuit. As Wycheck puts that car right into the outside zone, Hines shallows up, loses some ground. He's got a mild amount of understeer, but he now gets himself back into it. Wycheck, though, unfazed, unrocked, and look at the pace that Wycheck is firing around this circuit. Yeah. To qualify, and then I spoke to him earlier and he said, well, now the goals move, because now the goal is to get into top 16. We'll see how he gets on against a man from Lithuania that has a synonymous name for being one of the deadliest in the game at chase and lead. And look at this from Cherba as he flicks that carbon Kevlar E92 BMW in. Oh, and Olsen catches a whole bunch of understeer coming down the hill. Cherba gets himself back into it, back on throttle, back into the outside zone. Simon Olsen tries to get himself back into the mix. As Cherba fires the back end to the wall, pops the tailgate open, and now Simon Olsen starts to rein him in once again as they get it across the line.
The difference in pulling at a bit of a gap.
Well, there we go. Slams that car into gear. Tomas Kiley, an OG, a real big name in Irish drifting, and so is Jack Shanahan. These two heavyweight hitters go head-to-head right now in top 32. Oh, look at the initiation from Shanahan, and it caught Tomas Kiley sleeping. Shanahan goes a wheel over the edge of the circuit, but manages to get it back on that qualifying line as he now puts himself right into the outside zone. But Kiley managed to regain some lost ground as he fires through the smoke up into the wall, up into the side of that Toyota GT86 as they go wheel to wheel for the outside zone and across the line.
There's some.
Look for that first ever Drift Masters podium. Loves it here in Mondello Park. What can he do right now? He's not got an easy battle in top 32. Nobody has. As they come down the hill through the gears, onto the back bumper goes Piscoli. As Korpolinski puts that car to angle, looks for the edge of the circuit. Very nice lead line so far from Pavel Korpolinski as he puts it into the outside zone, and that opens the door for Kevin Piscoli. Piscoli washes a little bit there, trying to get down the inside, and it pays off as he almost takes the front end off that BMW. Piscoli puts himself right where he needs to be, a little squeezed on the throttle, trying to get on that front wheel, and he makes it.
When we were looking at the battles, we try on this track, so let's see what cards he decides to deal out on this run.
Well, I'm interested to know what was wrong with Marco Zacharew's car and what forced him to get out of the car under the bonnet to work out that issue. He's onto the back bumper already of the Dutch drivers. S14 as they fire through. Clint Van Oort puts that car where it needs to be, and this is cleaner driving from Clint Van Oort that we see yesterday in qualifying. A little big wobble there from both drivers. Oh, and a little contact. Zacharew scrappy right now, struggling to find that form that he had yesterday in qualifying, in the qualifying showdown, as he puts that car right to the edge of the circuit. Clint Van Oort doing a good job, and another shove into. They come through the gears and ready to get this one underway as Clint Van Oort leads out Marco Zacharel. Zacharel already on the back bumper, but a nice flick to angle for Clint Van Oort, and a lot cleaner for Clint Van Oort this time. An understeer once again for Marco Zacharel. Missed the transition, had to reinitiate as Clint Van Oort now puts himself right in that outside zone. Looks for the transition back right to the edge of the circuit as Van Oort goes for the outside zone. This is cleaner, but it's a wheel off circuit. He manages to deal with it as Clint Van Oort goes for that final zone with Zacharel on the door.
That's taking.
Sits in that crazy Jason X100, starts to creep off the line as Jason Benet now gets the green light through the gears. They come down the hill, and look at this as Jarkko Juhla not giving Jason Benet an inch to get away, but he does lose ground on that initiation. Everyone's been talking about how fast Jason Benet is. He's that fast. The tyres back on fire once again, but he's got very wide. He's just about going to hold it on circuit. He has to sacrifice the lost speed there, and that opens the door. Oh, and he pulls off the circuit. The car shuts down. Jarkko Juhla will finish up the run and bring it across the line, and I am not sure what's happened there to Jason Benet.
To stay in championship contention.
He certainly does. He's sitting second at the moment in the points of the championship. He's been on the podium here in Mondello Park before, but so has Nielsen. This one is going to be a heavy-hitting battle as they fire through, and look at Nielsen, puts that Sora to angle straight away as they come through, looks for the outside zone, dials it back on angle again, as now Oliver Randalou starts to look for the side of the Norwegian Sora as he gives him a little tag on the door. Nielsen getting flirty with the walls, but Oliver Randalou getting brave with the transitions and the dive up to the side of that orange Toyota Sora. And they bring...
That Takako Saito, an absolute legend.
He certainly is. Well, he comes off the line in that incredible A90 Supra alongside a man that made his mark here last year, Drift Masters, the Rookie of the Year, fires that carbon Kevlar S15 in, but he can't shake Saito, and he does shake Saito. Saito goes for a big angle transition and puts himself on the middle of the circuit. Now panicking, Saito goes for the front wheel of Connor Falvey's S15. He transitions way in the wrong place. Saito making a hash of it. He's going to dive on the inside as Connor Falvey puts the car right where it needs to be and across the line. I said it earlier on, these young guys, they've got that hunger in them, they've got the blood pumping through the veins, they want the wins. Conor Shanahan a little older now, a little wiser, as he fires this Toyota GT86 to angle over the hill at Mondello Park, and look at that, perfectly timed on the initiation. Ite Sener mistimes the transition, puts himself on the inside of the track, his wheels on the grass, it's all over the show for Ite Sener, as Conor Shanahan now places that GT86 right where it needs to be, sets himself up on the wall, finds the outside zone. Ite Sener gets back in the fight, back on the door, but it's already lost points over the first few rounds, and Harry Kerr said, look, if I didn't do well I wouldn't come back, and won the first round, and him and Dwayne McKeever have been exchanging blows ever since, and here we go as Dwayne McKeever now leads out Harry Kerr in that lead position. Harry Kerr goes wide but sticks in it as he gets lost in a cloud of smoke. McKeever goes super wide, almost over-rotates, and McKeever has to stand on the accelerator to drive himself out of that one as McKeever now puts himself into that second to last outside zone. Harry Kerr just can't keep up with it. We need to run it back and get a clean battle between the pair of them and see who will go through to the top 16. The light goes green and they go through the gears. Harry Kerr, look at this, mirroring the speed, mirroring the pace, and now McKeever pulls away and fires that S15 to angle over the hill here over at Menlo Park as he puts the car right to the edge of the circuit. Harry Kerr now looking for a little bit of lost ground, has to shortcut that outside zone. No mistakes from McKeever at the moment. He's got that car dialed 100% as he puts it right to the wall, right to the outside edge of the track. Harry Kerr lost in a cloud of smoke as McKeever brings it across the line.
I'm very excited for this one too. Just
I mean,
Battle of Finland.
Battle of Finland right now on the line. They come off through the gears. Juha Poitalasko to lead out Rittinen as Rittinen now jumps onto the back bumper of that BMW. Tentative initiation from both of these guys. They keep it nice and slow and low speed, but look at that, it messes up Rittinen a little bit. Wheels on the curb. Messes up the transition, now gets himself back into the fight as Rittinen goes for the side of that BMW, looks for the transition back. Rittinen going to make a big dive here, fires the back end there, but it's scrappy from Rittinen, gets himself into the fight, tags the door across the line.
How this goes.
Well, you said to me that this is going to be interesting, this bit. We talked about this a lot. Here we go, Nakamura to lead out Laurie Heinen. What can Laurie Heinen do? Can he deal with these crazy initiations from the Japanese driver? And look at the pace that Nakamura's firing in, big angle. Heinen deals with it, sticks to his own thing now, starts to settle himself into the barrel as Nakamura goes for the outside zone. Heinen finds himself on the inside. Nakamura wheels over the edge of the circuit as Laurie Heinen fires through the smoke, looks for the side of that GR86, trying to get himself into the mix, stands on the foot brake as Nakamura trying to slow that car down, and Heinen Brzezinski waits for him to pop the clutch and lift that car off. The light goes green. Both guys leave the start line. Fionn Roche now through the gears over the hill as Jakub Brzezinski flicks that car across that GR86, absolutely dialed in as Fionn Roche now works into the side of that GR86. They go for that transition back, and Fionn Roche holds back ever so slightly as Jakub Brzezinski gets himself right where it needs to be, and a little stall up, a check up there from Fionn Roche. A mistake creeps in from the young Irishman as Brzezinski puts the car right to the edge of the circuit, to the wall, looks for the final zone, and a big full hit won it, that's for sure. Well, they get the green light to go. They're through the gears. It's GR86 to take on GT86 as they go bumper to bumper. Fionn Roche this time not scared to get close to Brzezinski's car, but Brzezinski looks like he's turned up the heat maybe a little bit more, another 10% on that one, as now Fionn Roche fires in onto the rear wheel. That GR86, they come through the smoke. Fionn Roche goes for a brave early transition, makes it even braver on that transition as Fionn Roche won't let the Polishman get away as Fionn Roche fires angle at it across. Man to beat here at Mondello Park. He knows he'll have all of the Irish fans screaming his name as they come through the gears, down over the hill, and a big flick, and look at that from Kevin Mercer right on the back bumper. This is the closest battle we've seen so far, door to door, as they come through the outside zone. Mercer goes for the transition, and this is clean from both drivers as Mercer goes for the front wheel of that Mustang. Kevin Mercer goes for an early transition, trying to hunt down the Irishman as he fires that BMW onto the side of that Mustang. They come through that last outside zone, door to door.
It's something that we really don't get to see, so.
No, we don't get to see it very often, that's for sure. But what will he do right now, where he needs to be sensible for a little bit, that's for sure. As he fires through, look at the speed of Kavir already. Caught Chris Brady out on that initiation, but Brady wise to it. Shallows up the angle and keeps himself in the fight as Kavir now fires that car through. Shallows up the angle once again as Chris Brady trying to shortcut the circuit. Kavir on an absolute blinder of a lead line. Look at the way he can flick that 180SX to angle as Brady goes for the door, looks for the side of Kavir's S13. They go right to the edge of the circuit. Now Kavir as they come off the line. Kavir opting to chase, being the higher qualifier this time. Look at this from Kavir, down on the inside he goes, waits for Brady to set that car up now. Kavir, a little wobble there from Toran and Kavir as Brady puts himself right where he needs to be. Kavir switching it up for the second half of the battle. Kavir a mistake again, can't get himself into the mix now, goes for the dive on the outside zone. Brady right to the edge of the circuit. Brady starts to pull away as Kavir looks for the... Puts a fist bump up to the camera, he's looking good forward to this one. Had some good luck here in Ireland before. Mika Keski-Korpi looking for a turn of some of that good luck as they come through the gears over the hill, and a little slow from Keski-Korpi on initiation. Opens the door for Jakob Kroll as Kroll mirrors the angle on initiation from Mika Keski-Korpi. Now both transition, look for this long outside zone as Jakob Kroll finds the side of that BMW 2 Series. They time the transition perfectly. Kroll through the smoke onto the side, but big angle pulled from Keski-Korpi, and he has to fix the mistake as Kroll jumps up onto the door.
Yeah, Keski-Korpi going through that zone.